This is episode 183 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and today I'm joined by Marcel, year of the cut, but no cigar, Manzano.
Yeah, it's supposed to be cut, but no cigar. I don't know, like you put a weird pause in it, but that's fine, because that's the year that you get it so close, but just not quite there. Fun year though. Yep.
He sounds hurt, people. He sounds hurt. Will, my bathroom doesn't need that many light bulbs, Hagewood.
We pay for those kilojoules, you know?
And Ryan, whoosh, bang, Staniszewski.
Everything I like in this new wave going fast, making bangs.
All right, so today the plan is we're going to be talking about the Lima Open, the top 16 there. How did the newest wave perform? We got 4 lists of the weeks that we're doing, a couple of questions of the weeks. We're hitting it all. But before we can do all of that, we got to remind you about something really, really important. That is the fact that our podcast today is sponsored by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code GSP at manscaped.com. You can also type !sponsor in the chat for a link to the website or click the link in the description below. That's 20% off with free worldwide shipping at manscaped.com. And use code GSP at checkout. You can even combine your code with any other offers they have on their website. And may the Force be with your
Death Stars.
Yeah, Death Stars. All right, everybody. Let's jump into it. We're talking about the
Am I the only one? Am I the only one wearing merch?
You
like,
shill?
am I really the only one?
Well,
I am.
not necessarily, but we can't show it.
That's last week I had the undies on. I said that I had the undies on last week. I just don't have them on today. My shirt's dirty. It's what it is. Will, you're frozen, fam. In a very, very like smiley.
Is that good or bad?
I mean,
Well, we hear you fine, but your visual webcam is just. Oh wait, you're
there
good
it
now.
is. There it is. Just for a sec, you were just kind of jovially smiling into the distance. Is he actually frozen?
Again.
Oh no!
He
got you.
You
I
got me
knew
for
it.
about a half a second.
That was good.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna jump right into it. So the Lima Open was a charity event that went on this weekend that we streamed and was put on by the Lima, Peru X-Wing group. They did a wonderful job, and it was all about raising money for the charity called La Casa de Todos. The House of All is or for everybody. It's a translation roughly, and it's a Peruvian charity that serves the homeless people in the area, the homeless community there, building housing for them, and especially in this time of COVID-19, they're trying to build smart housing for their homeless population. So absolutely fantastic. And if you're watching the podcast either live, if you were one of our live viewers over the weekend, we raised almost $3,000. It was fantastic. We were right there on the cusp, and I'm sure the final total when all the costs are taken out from the entry fees from the players will be past that $3,000, which is awesome. So thank you to everybody who donated. And if you're watching live now and didn't watch during the broadcast, or you're watching later, you can still donate. ! Donate in the chat. We'll bring you the link, or you can click the link in the description below. That link will be active there for a couple of weeks. So this event was the first event that had the newest wave in it. All right? We're going to take a look at the top 16. Did the newest wave show up in the top 16, and where did the rest of it go? Did people actually play it? I mean, it was legal as of Friday. Well, not even legal. It was released as of Friday. It was legal for this event because it's a community event. Do what we want, right? That's how that goes. But we're going to start with number 16. We have Johannes Mamadei. Mamadei, take it, Will.
All right. Moba Day is flying. Major Von Rogue with Daredevil, Blackout with Fanatical and Advanced Optics, and Lieutenant Tabson with Biohexacrypt codes. We haven't seen a lot of Tabson in a long time, at least competitively, anyways. So, but the other two, I6 Ace and I5 Ace and Blackout, who can double mod there. If his shields go down, Fanatical the eyeball, Advanced Optics the blank. So some interesting heavy hitters actually with this squad. Though I'm assuming that Tabson in the end was his Achilles heel.
Yeah, and that Biohexacrypt codes, that's a card that we almost never see. Let me go ahead and pull that up. I don't remember what that does off the top of my head.
It's spend the lock to coordinate at any range. So it's really interesting to say lock Blackout, and then in combat you could actually like focus. Or what do I want to say? In combat you can coordinate anybody as long as Tabson takes the damage. Yep. So you can do some really goofy stuff.
It's jam or lock too.
Ooh,
but
jam.
That would be jamming opposing ship.
Well, if you took 2 damage and really needed to jam and lock, you could lock somebody and then jam them. So it does have the most utility on Tabson, who's actually taking the most actions of any Epsilon.
Fantastic. So top 16 there. I'm curious to see how often the Biohexacrypt codes actually got used, because I've seen people put it on Tabson, but rarely have I seen it actually get used with the take a damage and end up coordinating there. But you see the potential. You definitely see the potential. All right. We have an appearance of new stuff here, Ryan.
I mean, new stuff, old chassis, just a little bit of a different face. We have the Separatist 2-fire spray list utilizing Jango Fett and Zam Wiesel. Both of them utilizing Treacherous, a card we don't normally see. That is the Separatist-specific talent card. We have Count Dooku on Jango, Palpatine / other side of the card, Sidious on Zam. Both of them have proton bombs. Both of them have contraband cybernetics. Interesting choice on the Treacherous. My guess... I mean, you could take any additional better evades that you can, be a little more tanky, but I don't think he was looking to trigger them off themselves as much as triggering him off of opposing ships. It's good against swarm or generic type ships and lists that have a lot more ships that could cause those obstructions. But as Dion is posting right now, the Treacherous card, while you defend, you may choose a ship obstructing the attack and spend 1 charge. If you do, cancel 1 hit or crit, and the ship you chose gains a strain. You don't get that charge back until any ship is destroyed at range 0 to 3 of the ship that has Treacherous active. So, I don't know if... I'd be curious, similar as you're curious on Biohexacrypt codes, how often Treacherous came into play for Marcin. I definitely see, obviously, we all know the value of the additional force points on these ships with Count Dooku and Sidious. So those are obviously big plays. Probably keeping it on the Chancellor Palpatine side to dish out that Rebel captive style stress. And then Count Dooku for, whether it's just for spending or guaranteeing the result that's needed.
All right. Let's continue here. Now, one thing I do want to comment is, the Palpatine and the Dooku, like you pointed out, those are, they function exactly as Maul, the same as Maul, with a actual... I would guess that more often than not, it was just a force point that they had available for them, more than the abilities, though Dooku and Palpatine's ability could possibly actually be useful in certain situations, more so than Maul.
Yeah, I would definitely see the Dooku and Palpatine ability being used way more than the Maul ability. Dooku being that old school Emperor Palpatine style effect, while the Chancellor Palpatine being like rebel captive, where I believe it's been a while since I've looked at the Chancellor Palpatine card, but I'm pretty sure it's not if you're already stressed you can't receive it. You can definitely stack a second stress on somebody.
You can. Yes, you can.
So quite powerful.
All right, next, Marcel's going to take a look at Cormac Higgins' list out of the UK.
Alrighty, though. Cormac Higgins wins the internet by bringing Goji.
Goji!
With ion turret, R4 Astromax ion bombs and delayed fuses. Ahsoka and the Delta 7 with calibrated laser targeting. Obi-Wan Kenobi with sense, marksmanship, auto blasters. That's the ETA Obi-Wan, because he's got marksmanship, auto blasters. R7A7, I don't know what that one does. Probably something that helps you get to the top 16.
Ooh.
And then
the hit to crit 3 charges droid.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense with auto blasters. And Wolfpack, and coming in at 199 points. It's good. It's good to see the ETA making an appearance, and I like the sense on it with Ahsoka being able to double reposition or even single reposition while stressed to be able to get some blocks in. I like that. So yeah, very, very, very solid. And I like the fact that R7A7 now has an auto blaster carrier. That basically, yeah, that's actually pretty nasty marksmanship in this, being able to land 2 crits if you get a bullseye. Very nice.
Yeah, the Obi-Wan Kenobi ship there. Let's talk about it. I mean, we have an appearance of this new chassis show up. Now, again, I know these abilities are so new that I'm having to read them and reread them more than once just to really stick it to our heads. But for anybody who isn't familiar, so I'm going, because he doesn't have Anakin in his list, I'm going to omit the possibility of using Anakin in the ability. I'm just going to use it for himself. So after you execute a maneuver, if there are more enemy ships than other friendly ships at range 0 to 1 of you, you may spend 1 force. If you do, that ship gains a focus token, 1 focus token. So it has an ability to even, mind you, it just says execute a maneuver. It doesn't say fully execute a maneuver. You can alter that force to gain the focus token. You could also then use your action to get another thing, like you could spend the force for a target lock if you wanted to, or token up for an evade, which is really a better move for the ship. What are our thoughts on the utility of Obi-Wan? Or reposition, yeah.
Yeah, you can come in, get your focus, and then reposition to line up that bullseye or something, or just get out of arc. I like it a lot. I actually like it. I like it a lot, and I'm curious to see how many people are flying Obi and Annie together, because I think that getting rid of red maneuver is also really, really good. And I'm not thinking about it so much for stress, but I'm thinking more in regards to target locks. Mm-hmm. Just being able to shed some target locks if you're moving that initiative. If you're moving last, that initiative 5 or 6, being able to move in and say, nope, you're not gonna, wasted action for you is basically a jam. I think it's really solid. It allows you to be hyper aggressive with it, which it's kind of counterintuitive if you think about it. Hyper aggressive with it with a Winterfell, but it's. I don't know. It's good.
It's an opportunity cost, right? Because if you're going to be aggressive and you're going to go for that target lock, it's going to cost you a force. So if in a turn you intuitive controls, use this ability, and target lock, that's 3 force just gone. You have to spend it all. So it's not something you can do all the time, but it is an available combination.
Yeah, but when you got R7 marksmanship, and if you got bullseye from the rear, I mean, a target lock, and then you're guaranteeing a marksmanship plus an R7. You're fishing for 3 crits that are guaranteed to go through. I mean, there's a lot of potential there, and obviously he made it this far. So
Yeah, I would agree. So Cormac making it there into the top 16. Let's keep it going. So Juan Carlos Ruiz brought a separatist list. We got General Grievous.
wait, I have a quick question on the last one.
Yes.
Is there ability only for the ETA or Delta, right?
What it
So if he were to
No,
replace
it's any Anakin.
any
So you-
Anakin Skywalker.
Oh God, I so much would have loved to see, because at 45 points you can fit Anakin with intimidation, and you've got sense, and just ram Anakin in there with intimidation, and then he gets he can still get the focus if he wants it because of the ability. And Anakin is just, I think, a little tankier than Ahsoka. Oh, I like it.
Marcel's
Specifically, I believe he's talking about Little Annie in the end one. 'Cause a
The
lot of
only
people
Annie.
might not catch that.
Well, actually, the only of 2 Annies, because there's a new Annie out there that I like now too.
Well, because there's ETA Annie, there's Naboo Annie, and Delta 7 Annie, and there's also Y-Wing Annie. You can't be I mean, whether they're good or not is not the question, but it's available. Obi-Wan could be available in one of these ships to maybe do some work. You never know. All right, so going on to Carlos Ruiz here. He brought General Grievous in the Balba Lab with Impervious Plating and Soulless 1. He also had 2 bombardment drones with proximity mines and 3 Discord Missile Trade Federation drones, also with grappling struts. We did get to see him on the stream, if I'm not mistaken. Lots of tools in this list. Played really, really well. Did a great job of leveraging those Discord missiles. I believe in the game that we saw him on stream, it was a very fast match. Marcel, do you remember who his opponent was?
Yeah, it turns out if you straight up joust and chase proximity mines with A-Wings, you don't live long. Now, to be fair,
Yeah.
we were both 5-0, and we were both already automatically in, and I don't know if you guys saw it I don't know if you saw it on the chat, but from the very beginning of the chat, I said violence, like this is round 6 violence.
Yeah.
And spend every token, but it is, yeah. I think what makes this list crazier is the. Oh wait, is this a different one? Never mind, this is not the one that beat me.
No,
is it?
no, it's not, but it's really similar. It's
Okay.
really similar.
Yeah, because he's got Grievous. Yeah, that guy didn't
yeah.
have Grievous. The one that whooped me. I didn't play this guy.
No,
Yeah, 'cause
not this one. It's a very,
yeah, I think-
very similar.
Yeah, the other guy had landing struts, which is what I think is big.
We'll get to that here in a couple minutes, and you can break that down. But I mean, this has just a lot of tools. The Discord missiles and the proximity mines give a lot of weapons. General Grievous is a pocket ace, right? Initiative 4 can last a long time and just has a lot of weapons. Carlos Ruiz making it that far.
So one side note I want to point out on this list is I think we've seen that this is a very consistent separatist archetype that we've seen across multiple points updates be successful, from the Space Jams to the Galaxies events and to this Lima Open. We've seen Grievous plus bombardment proximity mines and 3 Discord missile vultures. This has been a consistent list throughout points updates and adjustments and changes. This is probably the most successful 6-ship separatist list I've seen over almost a year. I mean, this is I see this as always the Adam Kemper's list because he's in the Midwest, and I've seen it more, and I've seen him work on this for a long time, but other people have picked it up and utilized it. But I'm surprised I haven't even tried it yet. For as much of a Separatist player I am, I have not picked up. I don't know, like this archetype should give its own name, like the pie plate archetype. Like we're always putting stuff in front of you, auto damage.
Yeah, I mean it is a very dangerous list. Yeah, if you are interested in this archetype and you want to give it a go, take a look at Adam Kemper's. We have quite a few of his games that have been streamed on Gold Squadron, and they're archived in our YouTube channel. Go take a look if you're interested in this archetype. That is the place to go, 100%. Now we'll roll back. We'll roll back to Marcel here, as it is himself in the top 16. What'd you bring and why? What worked? What didn't work, my friend?
Sure. I brought the same list, but I took off because of the points change. Mm-hmm. The list went up in points, so I basically just dropped the Starbird Slash, which really didn't do anything last time. I didn't really feel the difference. And actually, it still felt pretty solid. It felt pretty strong. Like I said, I was 5-0 before that one, and even the round 6, not the round 6, the cut match that I lost 123 to 116, like in a real good nail biter against. He was in the top 4 flying the Echo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't feel like I was outmatched in any. Every match felt winnable, and I think that's probably what the A-Wings are good at, whether you're flying 4 or 5, is giving you a shot to win every match. You're not going to have an advantage in every match, but you're going to have an opportunity to win every match because 3 agility ships that zoom around, and they just tend to do that. So I personally I think I think what worked was dropping the Starboard, because there was one match that I won only because I got the initiative. It was against Kylo, Blackout, and another and Von Reg or something like that. Yeah, and Von Reg, and that's because he was also at 191, mm-hmm. and I just got lucky enough to win the roll off. So that means my A-Wings were moving after his Kylo, and that's the only reason I won. So if you're saying what worked is having initiative 5 with a bid.
I mean, but that's something that has been true for a long time, right? Is the bid can definitely make a difference, and it's an example of you making an adjustment to your list, small. And yes, it did take away a tool, but you realized it was a tool you weren't using very often, or maybe it wasn't worth the value of what a bid was. All right, let's keep the good times rolling here. Let's take a look at Carson Ray. Take it, Will.
All right, Carson Ray is flying the Resistance, classic for him. We got Poe Dameron with Heroic R4, foils, heavy laser cannon, Lone Wolf, Lulo. Carson, still on that Lulo train. Jess Papa with foils, of course, and Rose Tico with C3PO. And I just feel like this is Carson Ray just hand-picking every ship every small base ship, I guess, in the Resistance, who can double modify their dice. Lulo can do it with Lone Wolf. Poe can do it, obviously. Jess Papa can do it. And even Rose can do it. While helping out a friend, that's crazy. C3PO gives you a red coordinate. And anytime you coordinate or calculate, you also get a calculate. So she's out there helping out, very tanky with her rerolls, helping Jess out, doubling down on helping Jess out. Can really get in some interesting situations. This is also old Poe, I believe, as well, correct?
Yes.
We had to double
Hero
check now.
Poe.
Not Hero Poe. Well, it turns out Carson knows a thing or two about ASIN and also the Resistance. So I'm not surprised to see. I am surprised to see Rose there, though. That's the one I thought people weren't catching on to, was the coordinate in Rose. But we see it here.
Yeah, let's just take a second and talk a little bit about Lulo, because Lulo is an interesting piece, and it's one that I think a lot of people haven't seen for a while. We'll go ahead and pull it up on the screen here. So Lulo, a wing that says while you defend or perform an attack, if you're stressed, you must roll one fewer defense dice or add the attack dice. So it's capable of getting that X-Wing stat line, the 3 attack, 2 agility, but it can be really risky. That's the reason why he had the Lone Wolf on there. Now, Carson will 100% admit that the game that we did get recorded in him, with him playing, was not great. It was him underperforming. He had played really well up into here, and his opponent just who ends up actually being the eventual champion in this game, simply just made better choices. It's just the truth, and was able to win the game. So don't necessarily look at that game when it gets released as a reflection on the list or even on Carson's playing. It was one bad game, but you can see the potential. Okay, you can see the potential for sure. Alrighty. I just noticed that here's one of the many beautiful mistakes in this squad builder. Do you notice how it has 3 hard blues and then 3 white blues? Yeah, those are banks.
Dang, you get both? You get the choice of hard white or blue? Dang, that's
but
nice.
now you don't get the 3 bank anymore. You lose a whole maneuver.
Nah, that's fine. Hard 3, for sure. Actually, no, the 3 bank is where it's at.
Very important.
Alrighty, so let's keep it rolling here. So our next person is Bob Howe. Take it, Ryan.
All right, so this is a couple early spoiler alerts. Not your only Dash and not your only Howe. We still got more to go. So we got Dash with the Bistan Perceptive Co-Pilot combination we've seen do well recently. But on top of that, the points left over for Contraband Cybernetics, which is a nice small add because the rest of the list, we have 2 Kashyyyk Defenders, both with hull upgrade. So just making sure that those Kashyyyk Defenders will shoot anything because they have that 180 arc and they're a small base. Provide that additional firepower, and on top of that, Dash's really potent Bistan firepower. Now, Dash is not double modding those shots, though. He's not getting those any re-rolls. But in combination of him being able to shoot twice and the Kashyyyk Defenders being very reliable in following up to focus fire because of those 180 arcs, it's hard to not have 4 shots on a single target. The opponent's got to play extremely good range control to not allow that to happen and be very mindful of Dash's likely side arc, I would assume, but I'm not sure if Bob opted for the side to side for the bow tie or the front to back in some instances, especially with Contraband where you can do that 4K and still get mods.
Our next list on the list, it comes from a very well-known name. It is Timo Lars Rabe, and he brought a very interesting list. I have been on record saying that I hate the IGs, and people have just simply been making me look like a dingus. So, Marcel, what do we got here?
We got a dingus maker. We've got Timo Rob flying 2 IGs, IGB and IGD, loaded out, I believe, exactly the same with elusive, advanced sensors, auto blasters, ion cannons, proton bombs, rigged cargo chute, and hull upgrade. Coming in at 200 points because who needs a bid when you're initiative 4? Question: how different is this than the 2 IGs that made it at that one Galaxies event?
The stealth device was the difference.
Okay, so he had.
I will do the research right now for you.
They had Contraband on them.
So he had stealth device and contraband.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he still had advanced sensor. So I'm guessing he probably didn't have the 2 cannons then, and the rigged chutes, in order to get that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about it other than more power to them. I don't think I can take something like this to a cut. So well done. I still don't think it's very good.
Well, I mean, it's
A good pilot, maybe not. I don't know about the list.
so advanced sensors. The key there, of course, is you can almost always get an action, right? You're able to do an action before you move, and that means you can put yourself in situations where, hey, I need to do a sloop or a K turn this turn, and I can make sure to get that action. The double tap, I think, really does matter, and likely the idea here with that rig cargo chute and ion cannon combination, I'm pretty confident that there were times where Teemo both ionized and stressed an opponent, which just makes you feel bad. You can't do anything. You thought you could even focus. No, you can't. And you got that, just the maneuverability on both of them. I really like it. And here is the thing that I also find interesting. He opted for IGB and IGD, so that was a very purposeful taking of IGD, because it's the same price as C, right? IGD giving you that. Allowing you to Segnor's loop on the hard turn, so it allows you to get into positioning that normally other ships, or sorry, that no other ship can really do. And I would love to pick Teemo's brain as to why IG88D versus C, because a lot of people look at C for the utility of being able to pass around the evade, but B is the staple. Being able to shoot twice is good. That says that after you perform an attack that misses, you may perform a bonus cannon attack. So I mean, yeah, you're gonna take that one 9 times out of 10. But the secondary choice is always, I always find it very, very interesting.
I think especially when you're looking at just 2 IGs, you got to be, especially utilizing those advanced sensors commonly with just 2 IGs and loading them up, being as unpredictable as possible and opening up as many options as you can for your maneuvers and your red maneuvers that you're gonna have to do. These guys only have a front arc on a medium base. You're going to do turnarounds in some manner, and giving yourself more of them allows a player those options to open up the different ways they can turn around. Elusive is a strong play with that as well. Those defensive rerolls are no joke on those platforms with 3 agility and that much health. And combining that with their ability to calculate and always get 2 of them when they get their actions, it just provides a very efficient chassis that if you only have 2 ships, if you have to have the most opportunities to position yourselves in the best way possible.
Another thought here is, in first edition, we never saw IG88D. It just didn't happen, right? You never saw it on the table, and I'm using the obviously I'm sure somebody out there played it, but competitively it wasn't seen very much. And I think something else it kind of does under. Let's see. I want to fully read this ability. While you execute a Segnor's loop maneuver, you may use another template at the same speed instead, either the turn. Or the straight. Okay, so you could, in a situation where you know you were gonna bump, but you want the 3 hard, you don't have that on the dial. Be like, I'm gonna Segnor's loop with a hard turn. It's a red maneuver, and I'll take a stress for it. But I advanced sensor, so I have my action and did a 3 hard. That's hilarious. So maneuver flexibility, very, very good. Alrighty. Let's keep it rolling here. We got Craig Bradford bringing a Bactoid set of, you got 3 of those with homing missiles, cluster missiles, thermal detonators, another new card showing up here, and repulsor stabilizers. And then we have a 4th HMP with, that's DGS 047 with concussion missiles, Zam Wessel, DRK-1 probe droids, and repulsor lift. Now, which one is DGS 047? Which one is that one? This is the, after you perform an attack, the defender is in your front arc, you may acquire a lock on it. If the defender is in your bullseye, it gains a strain. So are we taking DGS just to get Zam in there? Is that the...
So DGS is only one more point over the backdoing drone.
Okay.
And if you need to be, what I found I like DGS with is if everyone's I1, you shoot with him first because you can shift that lock around to help your other backdoids get more rerolls. But on top of that, I like the play to putting Zamweisel crew on him as well. So for the, Zam triggers for that additional shot. So if you need to you need to take that shot on the opposing ship with that free attack, you have the lock spread around with the Dark One probe droids, but then you can switch your target lock later off of even that attack used with Zamweisel much earlier on, and then help set up, say, if you didn't lock that ship, but now they're in a shot to take homing missile, or your is it concussion missile or cluster missile?
Concussion.
Okay, yeah, either one. So flexible. Don't normally see crew taking on these guys. Zamwesel's new, 2 shots.
So one of the things I'm feeling like we're seeing is the HMP starting to rise in popularity and doing some work for the Separatists in the absence of those Geonosians. All right, next we have Jason Chong flying a list that we did see on our stream. Take it, Will.
All right. So Jason's got the Rebel Alliance. He's got Dash, Trickshot, Bitstand, Perceptive Copilot, Shield Upgrade, Outrider, and Rigged Cargo Chute. Big O thick Dash, 131. Got AP5, Coordinate them, probably those double focuses, because it still allows Dash to barrel roll with AP5's ability. Got Jin so changing one of those Perceptive Copilot focuses to an evade potentially. R4 to clear stress, I guess, on AP5. And Phoenix Squadron with Squad Leader, another coordinator out there. So basically, Big O Dash and 2 coordinators. You pulled up Squad Leader here, which is unique. It's a talent. While you coordinate, the ship you choose can perform an action only if that action is on your action bar. Turns out A-Wings got 5 actions on their action bar, so it shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, just another way of being able to coordinate. Dash, you could even chain the coordinates. I'm imagining something like coordinating with the Phoenix first, and then, because the Phoenix is a little bit closer to the fight, you coordinate that with AP5. Both I1, utilizing the stress combination there. That's a big old Dash flying around.
It is thick. Now, Jason, his opening, we're pretty sure it was a very practiced opening. So he had AP5 on one side, very similar to like a Marcel opening where he had 2 ships facing in, and then Dash in the middle. And with the Outrider title and AP5, he can set up this almost Defender-esque opening where he placed the obstacle right in the middle and could continue to 4K back and forth and just shoot 4 dice at things, trick shot. Now, I don't want to give spoilers for the game, but he changed his game plan kind of in the beginning, and it did hurt him. It was a very close game. I don't want to give, again, spoilers if you haven't watched it yet. It was a really, really good game. But interesting to see another Dash make it. And I think this is, with Dash coming down just a little bit in points, we are starting to see the power of red dice. Because that's essentially what Dash is, right? It's access to 8 red dice in a single turn. Yes, you have to do it against 2 different ships.
10, Dion.
10. I'm sorry, yes, 10 with the trick shot. I mean, that is a lot of that's a lot of points you're paying.
2 proton rockets. Boom, boom, every round.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
I mean, it's not the fastest ship in the world. It doesn't have boost. He's a little predictable. You know he's going to be on an obstacle, or at least trying to be around it.
Mm-hmm.
I am interested in the game plan to see again, because if I saw this, man, everything at those support ships, just clean them out, and hopefully we have enough left to take Dash one-on-one. But I could see falling into the trap of trying to fight Dash with double coordinators around.
Well, so here's the thing. At least with Jason, he flew it so that if you went at the coordinators, you were taking double Bistan shots.
Oh, I bet.
So you're using 4, 5, 6 turns taking out an A-wing and AP5, and by that time, if you haven't touched Dash, that's 131 points left out there. So
tough decisions all around. Yeah.
It was no bueno. No bueno. Alrighty. Let's keep it rolling here. We have, as Ryan stated, not your only how, but we did get our second Dash.
Is that Marcel or me?
It's you.
Okay. On to the second how. All right. We got a Galactic Empire list utilizing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Scimitar Squadron pilot TIE bombers. One of them has the new thread tracers with skilled bombardier and thermal detonators. Another one has ion missiles, skilled bombardier, thermal detonators, and the other 3 all have skilled bombardier and thermal detonators. And then to round it out, the final ship is the new Squadron gunboat with tractor beam. That's a lot of interesting combination. We got the thread tracers to pop out those locks for later, the ion missile for some control, and a nasty net of thermal detonators between the bank drop of the Scimitar Squadron and the skilled bombardier, and the farther reaching drop of the thermal detonators off the second drop. Is it only the second, or can you do the first one as the 2 straight? Let's read.
You can always 2 straight them.
Mm-hmm.
You have your option.
Yep.
Most bombs say drop with A1 forward. Not thermals, though.
Yeah, you can do either one for both or the one, yeah. So, man, that is like I said, disgusting net of bombs you can drop. Now, a lot of people haven't, or maybe don't notice yet, this is not a bomb that will automatically damage you all the time. You roll a dice. On a blank, it does nothing. Eyeball, the ship gets strained, and on a hit or crit, you take whatever one it is. So still, half the time, you are probably taking damage. But there is still the other half where you don't take damage or you get strained. The tractor beam can also be really nasty to set up the actual shots in the engagement from the gunboat as well. Everything in this list is shooting at I2, so it could be pretty nasty against opposing I1s, especially with the thread tracers, and just bombarding the shots and then the follow-up turn, leaving the net of thermal detonating bombs.
Yeah, I was trying to get a diagram made here really quickly of the Scimitar bomb options. It's ridiculous. Just take your ship, put it on the table, and take your 1 straight, your 1 banks, your 2 banks, your 2 straight, your 3. It's like it is a huge wide net. And I know Doug is very, very good at understanding ranges and flying. While you could probably think like, hey, I probably would bomb myself a lot, and maybe he did a couple of times. I mean, with the number of bombs, I'm sure it happened. But he had to have flown this with a lot of skill in order to make it work. And I'm almost sure you got those ion missiles out there. Imagine being ionized and this group of bombers being like, and here's a present for you.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy because, yeah, could you imagine a single bomber, and this is only 1 out of the 5, could say, I'm going to drop one with a 1 bank to the left and drop another with a 3 bank to the right. Like, that's such a wide spot of 2 bombs that can be dropped in the same turn.
It is It is a lot. So yeah, check that one out if you have not. All right, now we get to Juan Pablo Gonzalez. Now this is Marcel's favorite squad right here.
Yeah, this is the one. I think I read out the list when we were talking about the other guy. So this is a bunch of techno bombers dropping bombs, all of them with proximity mines, and 2 of them with Discord missiles. Again, all of them with landing struts. Really fun squad. I think he ended up because we were both 5-0, so he ended up going 6-0. And is this the top 8 still?
We are in. Broke my thing. See, Juan Pablo is. He is 5th.
Okay,
so yeah, top 8 still.
He's the top of top 8. Yeah. So Anyway, very. It reminds me a lot of the Imperial bomber proximity mine one. The bombers have more places to put the bombs because they get to shift them around and with bombardier. But these guys, the Discord missiles actually have a big impact because now you don't want to be in front of them because of that, and then also the landing struts just being able to ignore bombs. So they have the same. They have the same. Kind of makeup as the Imperial bombers that McDowell was flying in some of the other tournaments, but a couple nuances. Again, they can be on the rocks. They have landing struts, and I think it's harder to focus fire on these guys than it is to focus fire on a bomber. The bomber has an extra health, but they only got 1 focus available to them. So after you make them spend it, they're done. Where these guys, if you're trying to focus fire on one, they just keep pulling defensive tokens away from all their friendlies. So it's harder to focus fire on these guys than it is to focus fire on the bombers. Really fun list. Really cool guy. I had a really fun time playing against him. And I hope nobody else flies this kind of stuff because it's just crazy. Flying against 6 proximity mines and Discord missiles and 6 ships is a puzzle for sure. It's if you're trying to fly aces and beat it, it's one of those games where you fly around and maybe try to take a couple pot shots and win 22-0 or something like that. Not an easy game for sure.
Low and slow, yeah, because he was super patient as well while playing. He's like, you could see
one forward.
One forward. You could see the crazy things he could have done, but he was like, why would I? He can't stop the 1 forward, so I'm just going to 1 forward and see what you do about it. So, yeah, great play there by Juan Pablo Gonzalez, excuse me. All right, next we have Andy Myers. Andy Myers bringing a first order squad. We got our first appearance of Kylo Ren in the top 16, and we have 3 Zeta Squadron survivors with passive sensors. Now, we did get to see Andrew play in a Top Cut game. And he lost this game because of the initiative hurt him just a little bit on the Zeta squadrons. Did Andy whisper in all his chats? No. He spoke in his regular voice. He saves. If you guys don't know, Andy Myers is the host of X-Wing ASMR. They actually recently did a video opening a GSP prize pack on his channel. So if you're not sure what's in there and if you want to see somebody stretch out opening an envelope for a half an hour, that's where you go. All right. It's fantastic. But yeah, it was he has a lot of weapons here. The Zeta Squadron survivors. Remember those TIE SFs, they can fire their missiles out the front and the back. And even, let's go ahead and pull up that card here. No, that is the wrong Survivor. There we go. With that heavy weapon turret. And the trigger here with passive sensors is you do passive sensors, and you can use the linked action, the target lock into rotate, in order to basically, oh, do I have a ship in front of me? Then I'll bring my arc to the front. Is there a ship behind me? I'll do it to the back and have those missiles available to be used. And of course, Kylo is Kylo, all right? It's a fantastic force-wielding ship with double repositioning. Next one. Here we go, Will. We have a interesting Imperial list here.
All right. This is from Chetty. I can't even try. Can't even try it.
Piotr
This is
Churubinsky. Yeah.
All right. He's got the Inquisitor in the V1 with Foresight. Clone it 4 times. That's 5 of them. So Foresight is a force talent, or I guess it's just force abilities. And when, let me wait for it to get pulled up here. Oh, you beat me to it. After an enemy executes a maneuver, you may spend 1 force charge to perform this attack against it as a bonus attack. This is Bullseye, range 1 to 3, 2 attack dice. In addition to having a snapshot-like ability, you also get attack. You may change 1 eyeball result to a hit result. Dice can't be modified any other way. So actually, you're already spending the force to modify the dice built in. You can even use it, is the best thing, is that you can use these foresights to attack in your bullseye. And at range 2 and 3, you just get the free focus modifier. So it's really good on these ships when they're taking the repositions, plus the focus token, and they're snapshotting you. They're very real tanky. When Foresight came out, I thought we saw this a lot more, but it quickly died out. So I'm glad to see some snapshot. It's not easy to snapshot an only bullseye.
Yeah, I
really
think
gotta line them up.
What really works in this list is the fact that you have 5 of them. You have 5 of them available, and you're able to overlap those bullseyes. And I will tell you, we have a game of Piotr playing this, and he got off Foresight more than I have ever seen anybody ever get those bullseyes off. He was doing a great job of layering them. It was seriously a master class on making sure that you get the bullseye on, because because it is like you said, a snapshot-like ability. It does have that soft mod in there, but he dealt a lot of damage off of those foresights. And because it's a bonus attack, you still have your primary. I mean, it is really, really good. And of course, just the Inquisitor, that base 3 ship is extremely defensive. It is a good chassis, and I'm not surprised watching how Piotr played in Swiss that he got so far and got into the top 4 of the cut. Not surprised whatsoever.
Yeah, no, the V1's definitely the perfect chassis for it. You got your knife fighter with the hard one blues plus repositions and tokens. So in a scrum, could be very dangerous.
All right. Now we get into the top 2. We have Arturo Aliaga. Some people know him as R2D2 in the South American community. He's part of the Convoy Squadron, I'm pretty sure. I'm like 98% because I know he gave me a shirt when I was in Argentina. Of the Convoy Squadron. So shout out to Arturo. We have a really interesting list here. Take that, Ryan.
All right, we have a Galactic Republic in the top 2. Something we haven't seen in a while. We normally see him make cut, and it kind of just ends there. Leading the pack, the new Anakin Skywalker in the ETA-2 Actis Interceptor. using a very soon tier like Predator and Shield upgrade, utilizing that Bullseye for the reroll, and then the Shield upgrade to gain that a little bit of crit resistance for that first shot. And then there's Wolf in the ARC 170 and 2 104th Battalion Pilot ARC 170s. So kind of similar to the former OB7B and 3 arcs, but they were all generic. This is Anakin at I6 being Super AC, Wolf a better arc with the reroll and the extra die out the back with how you use the charge, and then 2 base ARC 170s.
Yeah, so this is an appearance of Anakin Skywalker in an Initiative 6 ship doing what aces do. Now, we got 3 games with Arturo playing this. His best game was the second one. Okay, so when you go and watch it, his best flown game was definitely the second one. But we got to see Anakin's intuitive controls used for blocking in the system phase, which was really, really cool. Just really good area control with the ARC 170s, and seeing how this mixed arms, because the ARC 170s, they're chunky, they can take damage, how they can be a huge distraction and give your aces space and time to actually play on the field. It was really, really great. So if you're curious on the archetype, I would definitely take a look at the games. But I will tell you, you gotta be careful with Anakin. You gotta be careful. You can take some shots, but you only got 3 hull, right? It's got Sunterfell syndrome. Sunterfell syndrome for sure. You can disappear real quick. And last but not least, we have Marcelo Duarte. Let me know what happened here, Marcel Manzano.
He won.
This is true. He was the campeón, the champion.
So Marcelo Duarte, awesome guy, very fun guy. I played him in round 5, Swiss, so got to meet him. Got to find out that he is the South American 2019 champion. So he is the South American champion 2019, flying the Grand Inquisitor, Darth Vader, and Echo, coming in with 199 points. Pretty straightforward list. I don't know if you can call it straightforward. I guess not completely straightforward, because a lot of people go with passive sensors, but instead of going passive sensors, he opted to go the targeting computer route with collision detector. And
I don't think in this build he can afford passive sensors, right?
Well, he could. He just can't afford collision detector.
Because of the collision detector, yeah.
Yeah, so collision and targeting computer is 9 points. Passive sensors is 2. So he would have to find... I think he could fit like a shield upgrade or a hull upgrade, but he got more mileage out of the collision detector, I'm sure. I did not see the final. I tuned in for the final a little bit, and when I tuned in, Arturo already had an arc and Anakin gone, and there was 0 damage done on Marcelo, so I kind of assumed it was a nice clean sweep. And I don't know. Basically, what I was telling for starters, I like his name. I don't know why he's got an extra O in there, but I love this dude's name. But I was telling Dion and the guys that Marcelo flew Echo better than anyone I've ever seen fly Echo. In my match against him, I killed Darth Vader and the Grand Inquisitor still having 4 A-Wings on the table. And with Echo alone flying after my A-Wings, he just put him in positions where I was getting no shots at him, even with rotating arcs, and he was able to creep back into the game and make it a really close game. Like, I've never seen anybody fly Echo that way. And that's with him making a critical mistake of forgetting which direction he decloaked and flying the opposite direction and taking Echo out of the fight for a couple turns. So Yeah, like I said, if you want to see, I don't know, did you have him in any other games or just this one?
We did. We had him in. He played against Carson Ray, and took him apart.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you
tore
want to
up.
see Master playing with Echo, this is the guy to watch. Again, his Grand Inquisitor and Darth Vader play for me was kind of like straightforward, but his Echo play just caught me off guard every time.
Here's the thing, though. You don't necessarily have to be. You don't have to play like a god with all three ships. If you just make the average moves with even with Darth Vader. Darth Vader's job is just to go and smash stuff, right? Like that's his job. If you're playing though that Echo at a really, really high level, that is enough a lot of times to put you over the top. And I think the extra issue with Echo, by the way, if you're not familiar with Echo, Echo is the Phantom that is allowed to decloak with the 2-bank template, and you also have the forward 2 banks as well, not just out the side. I mean, it can go in spots where you don't expect, and then you add the collision detector on there, and it creates a massive headache of a puzzle because you can, you might have a guess as to where Echo can go, but then when you can make all of the obstacles not matter, even though it's just for 2 turns, you mess with an opponent's head. That can cause bad decision making or overplaying for the worst possibility, and then if you're just doing what you got to do with Vader and the Inquisitor and just continuing to bide your time, deal damage as it comes to you, that's how you win games. It's really, really good. So congratulations to Marcelo Duarte, our Lima Open champion. Congratulations. All right. So, as we close out the Lima Open section, my question to you guys is, what are your thoughts on the performance of the new wave? We did do a little bit of analysis as to what was played, and we did see what made the top 16. Ryan, have a sad face about a fact? You got a sad fact for us?
The Tri-Fighters with what 0 total used or 0 like in cut? I think that's 0 total.
They weren't seen. They need not apply.
So I don't know how deep we want to go into it, but I think people are still figuring it out. It's definitely a ship where people have to find the right mix of how to how many Tri-Fighters work with X amount of ships in a Separatist list. There's more ships now to make that mix swarm. How can you find the right balance of what's good and what's not? How many upgrades put on there? Are the named ones worth it? What is the right play? Obviously, we saw the Separatist Fire Spray do well, and I'm not too surprised about that. It's a known commodity, just in a new faction, a different flavor, where now you have Zam, who has the ability to shoot twice. You have Django, who's an I6 fire spray. So you have abilities to, and that one, as we saw, and each of them can have a force because of the both force using crew in that faction, which is powerful. So not surprised people gravitate to try that more. Tri-Fighters are going to be different how much of the cumulative amount you should have in a list to balance it out. If you're making a small swarm, a medium swarm, a full swarm, depends on what you're doing, and find out where they slot in, because they can be a focal point. They can be the heavy hitters. They can be the ships that are actually really hard to kill, because they can be backed by network calculations along with evades when they want to be tanky, but still shoot 3 dice at you or 4 at range 1. But how to fly them amongst the swarm so they're not just in a box, because I don't think that's the right call. You have to make sure they are doing something to still be threatening, but not just with the box formation. They have to have the option to barrel roll or boost next to a friend when they need it most.
All right. So let's look at some stats here. So we had 14 appearances of the Actus 2, 6 of the V-Wing, 0 Tri-Fighters, and 9 Separatist fire sprays. So over time, we'll see how that continues to develop. We are having where we put the registration on hold a little bit because we're changing some things around. But I'm curious to see how, as people continue to play them through December in their local leagues, smaller tournaments, and when we open up the Gold Squadron Flight Club Championships, we're gonna have some extended and hyperspace events in there now. And how is it going to affect the meta? Are they going to be strong? What's the Tri-Fighter flavor we're going to see in there? Will the V-Wings stay bad? I know Will has some feelings about those V-Wings.
Oh, they are pulled in so many directions except for good. they bring bombs. That's cool. They got 3 agility. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a great faction. They're just missing out, man. They're just missing out on some real attack potential, and they're really what do I want to say? They don't really currently, other than bomb, burst missile. I don't see them adding much to the role of a cheap filler than the Torrent. I think the Torrent's doing a better job, personally.
Yeah, I've faced off against a V-Wing based list, and when you do equip those bombs, I think that it does matter, actually. Having speed that they have on top of the ability to drop bombs afterward, it gives them a very RZ2 feel of threatening on the way in, combined firearms, and threatening on the way out.
Yeah, there's definitely like some hit and run tactics we're just not seeing utilized with them. I'm just not sure. Like I said, I think all the archetypes that people have been looking at outside of like lone contrail or oddball or whatever, it's kind of like your filler. They are being filled in like warthog swarms where they all get to live. What was the other archetype that I saw being even attempted?
I saw some people trying to bring oddball.
Yeah, Tommy brought oddball and contrail. Smart.
Yeah.
With Connor Nets, man of style. I see that. And that's what gets me too. Contrail and oddball aren't bad chips. They're like aren't bad pilot abilities at all. It's just, man, there's just something not right about wanting target locks on my 3 agility ship.
It does hurt. Loses
my 40.3 agility ship.
Mm-hmm.
Man, would like some defense out there.
Alrighty. Well, we're going to jump now into List of the Week. We got 4 of them, and we're going to start here with Ryan looking at the list that was submitted by Whoopstroids. Here we go. Let's go ahead and bring that into view. Whoopstroid says, I like defenders. I like hyperspace. Not sure about what a third piece should be, or if I could squeeze in a third or maybe even a 4th cheap piece. So this is swapping out that Inquisitor you see on the screen. So Ryan, go ahead, give us the rundown and let us know what you're going to do.
So if I'm a fan of any defenders, they are named, aka Rexler, or maybe Vesri or Ryad. Obviously, this is hyperspace. We only get generics, but the main point is that if I go generic defender, I go Delta. I do not want to be blocked, and I don't want to have to invest in upgrades that I don't even think are in hyperspace to allow me to not be blocked and still get my action. So I'd rather be at I1 and just count on my tankiness to let me live. So we're dropping both Onyxes to Deltas. Now, that third ship, I think, brings back some old memories. Some good, some bad for some. We're going to change that TIE Advance V1 to a Reaper. And that Reaper in hyperspace is going to be Captain Baroff. Really tanky, hard to kill, hard to pin down at times. We've seen it in Extended do well. Got a lot of points left. We're carrying a very key figure. We're carrying Emperor Palpatine. Yes, people, we're back with Palp Defenders. We are utilizing Palpatine's force to help keep those defenders alive and modify them later on if their attack as well, if they need to use both their focus and evades. Captain Baroff can also help following the defenders in the first engagement, coordinating and help slowing Baroff down initially as well. To help make sure Baroff stays alive even longer, we're going to add hull upgrade. And then you have 3 points left. I like messing around with Ion Limiter Override, which is the talent that allows these Reapers to barrel roll at the cost of potentially a strain or a single Ion token. But I think, sneakily enough, you could see a play for Marge Sable Closure, because the ailerons commonly, and probably with the defenders, this list is probably going to want gas clouds. And Marge Sable Closure says after you fully execute a maneuver, if you moved through an obstacle, structure, or huge ship, or if you are deployed, you may choose an enemy ship in your front arc at range 1 to 2. That ship gains 1 strain token. And because these ships have ailerons, they like to hop over the gas clouds with ailerons and then perform their maneuver. That Marge Sable Closure is actually having another opportunity to trigger off ailerons. And you get a little bit of a bid, which I do think is important and why I kind of don't like Ion Limiter Override, because you want to make sure the Delta defenders can move first and not get blocked. We have 2 Delta defenders and then Captain Baroff with Marge Sable Closure, Emperor Palpatine, and hull upgrade.
All
198.
We're going to go ahead and save that copy. Again, we have been making an archive in our Discord channel of all of our lists of the weeks for the last about month or so. So if you want to reference them, you can feel free to take a look at them there. Also, remember, if you want to submit a list for List of the Week, !Discord, join our Discord or hit the link in the description down below. It's completely free. It's an absolutely fantastic community. And if you're a patron, we do have some patron-only rooms. So don't forget to connect your Patreon to Discord. All right, next we have Casprionics submitting a Galactic Republic list. What do we got going on here, Marcel? Where are we starting at?
Sure. So we're starting with what he built, which is 3 Jedi Knights, Delta 7, and then Shock T with Patience and Tractor Beam. And I believe he wrote that he's trying to make this kind of a control list. And he just says, it seems good. That's what he wrote. So, so it seems good. 3, and actually don't disagree with him. I was gonna, and when I saw this, I'm like, well, I would love some Obi in here. I would love some Plo Koon, some Ahsoka, and then I clicked on it, and nothing else came up when I clicked on the pilots. Turns out Jedi Knights are the only Delta 7s allowed in hyperspace.
Yep, that's right. Nobody else is invited.
Too bad.
Which I actually think is kind of cool. They made it, where the ETAs are like the squad leaders. That's the name pilot, the squad leaders on the ETA, and then you got the grunts, the regular Jedi Knights on the Delta 7. So out of this version, I actually kind of like it. If I maybe am not so hot on the Tractor Beam, I would probably look for maybe like a good astromech or something. But I can also see the value of the Tractor Beam, getting 3 dice out of the entire gun and just being defensive and really making those Jedi Knights hurt. So I would say I'm not going to change it if it wasn't for the List of the Week. So because it's List of the Week, the only thing better than rolling an extra red dice is just having a completely another attack. So let's go ahead and drop all those Delta 7s and make them calibrated.
Okay.
And then click copy and one of those calibrated. And then Shakti is going to go streaking down the campus because she's going naked. So, so basically just trading off some upgrades in order to get 5 ships out there. You get 3 Jedi Knights with calibrated and Shakti. Oh, look at you. You got to make it all like that was your OCD in action there. You can't have the Jedi Knight at the bottom. Nice. I like it. It was bothering me too, by the way. I did that in mine. When I put it together, I just couldn't live with it either. So you get 4 Jedi Knights calibrated, and then Shakti that is just kind of helping them with her ability and just keeping her in the back. And I think this is more in line with I forgot who said it. I think it was John Babcock. But basically, the Republic has become Bullseye the faction. So this is more in line with Bullseye the faction, having the 4 Jedi Knights and Shakti. Now, question to you guys, to the 3 of you.
Mm-hmm.
If you were flying this in a tournament, would you rather have 4 calibrateds and Shakti or 3 Delta 7Bs and Shakti and the tractor beam?
I always go for the 3 agility, man.
So you would go with the 5 ship list? Because
You can still find your bullseyes.
I mean, with 5 ships, you get better chance of finding those
I
bullseyes.
will say, I was really hoping that tractor beam could have still fit because if that tractor beam would have fit, then throwing things into bullseye would have been nice. But
Oh yeah, so good. I was also thinking maybe there was a way to fit a what do you call it? A lat in there to get some rerolls, but yeah, it's just they're too expensive.
yeah, people were barely fitting. I mean, people were fitting like broadside with only ion cannon turret and a bomb in this list. That was the former common extra piece to the 4 knights with CLT.
Yeah, because I mean that was the thing, right? 4 knights CLT and then a broadside. I think Shakti's a better support piece.
All right. So we're going to go ahead, copy that over, and get that on our list of the week section. We got another one here. Will's going to be taking a look at this one. Here we go.
All right. This comes from Let the Wookiee Win and says, really thinking about trying to get Zam to work. And I thought of a 2-ship Separatist build. So let's take a look what he's got. He's got Zam with Lone Wolf, Auto Blasters, Perceptive Copilot, Contraband Cybernetics, Slave One, and the new Boba Fett crew. And then for that second ship in the 2-ship list is Darth Maul with Hate, Dooku, Jango, and Dark One probe droids. So I see what he's going for here. Both ships can double shoot at high initiative. Darth Maul's got a bunch of force between Hate and Dooku on there. But I'm going to take some advice from the list we had broke down earlier from Pumper's Batch. I'm terrible with names. I really got to get better. Ironica. Anyways, so we're gonna change out that second fire spray to be Jango. We're not gonna have him flying in the co-pilot seat. Oh no, he's steering his own ship. Somehow got a different fire spray because we're actually gonna leave the Slave One and Boba on Zam, and we're gonna drop a bunch of other things on it. Pretty much all the other upgrades. Like, I get the Perceptive Copilot because you want 2 focuses, but we don't need that. Contraband Cybernetics, who didn't tell me Why hasn't this been an uproar? That contraband cybernetics went up to 3 points?
It's
Get
so
it out of
good.
here. Then. Nah. I mean, it was good because it was 2 points. Now for 3 points, I'm like, ugh. I can get a crack shot for that. I can get Predator for that. Man. So we're losing it. I understand it's good, but we're dropping it. Drop All Blasters and Lone Wolf. We're starting with a clean slate here. Like I said, we're taking some advice from Pumber's bench to include the Force users. We need Chancellor Palpatine on Zam and Dooku on Jango. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever done this now, but you can flip Chancellor Palpatine, go to Darth Sidious, and you can actually start coordinating. Say Zam left the fight. You can actually start coordinating Jango, boost or lock, and then stress him for a focus. Man, you'd be taking all the actions at that point in time. But you're mostly using it for the rebel captive, such an old school term by now, effect to prevent people from wanting to shoot at you. So let's see, where are we at here? 12 points?
Mm-hmm.
I'm too busy looking at my own builder to be looking at yours. We're going to need them proton bombs as well. Super good for these rear arc ships. Almost a must-have, in my opinion, is some sort of bomb.
On both of them?
Yeah, on both of them. And
That leads us at 196.
yeah, I'm really looking at Boba Fett. While you perform attack, but there's no other ships in the attack arc you can change. So there's your kind of force multiplier there with the Boba Fett. I'm tempted to put that on Jango and put on Veteran Tail Gunner so they can both shoot, but I don't really trust Veteran Tail Gunner as much as I think I would. So if you wanted them both to double shoot, that would be the way to do it. Slave 1 Jango, get the, what did I say? The Veteran Tail Gunner. But instead, we're just going to fill it out with Treacherous. Because I don't know if that's a good idea, but I like the thought of it, though, to be honest with you. So many times, there's just blocks of ships that come down. Malware, those arcs that we saw with Anakin, always have overlapping formations. So I think it'd actually be pretty good. We just haven't seen, turns out, there's not a lot of ships in Separatists that even have talent slots. Used to be just Grievous and Watt for a long time. But now we got Zam and Jango. So I think that's where I'd leave it at. I think Marcin, who I'm stealing the idea of that we talked about earlier, I believe, let me double check. He went with Contraband Cybernetics instead of that Slave 1 and Boba Fett. Get a little bit of a bid in there. But I do think that Boba Fett is really good. Being able to modify both of Zam's attacks each round, being able to save that force and other effects for defense could be very good. So that leaves Zam Wessel with Treacherous, Chancellor Palpatine, Proton Bombs, Slave 1, and Boba Fett. And then Jango with Treacherous, Count Dooku, and Proton Bombs for a full 200.
All right, let's go ahead and take that. Now, next we have one more list from Silencer 6911, and his their prompt here says, I was intrigued with the buff to Lieutenant Dormants and the synergy with hyperspace tracking data. I know Ryan played a list on stream before realizing the change to his ability, and this is what I conjured up. Hopefully I don't trigger Dion too bad, because I know his feelings about Recoil's ability. Yes, it's trash. Thank you in advance, and I love your content. All right, so first, thank you for submitting. And yes, triggered, achieved. We got Lieutenant Dormants with hyperspace tracking data, Blackout with trick shot, and Recoil with Predator and proton rockets. So let's start with what is Dormant's ability, okay? So Dormant's ability, after you are placed, other friendly small ships can be placed anywhere in the play area at range 0 to 2 of you, so you can get a little bit of extra spread. And then you got a couple of silencers doing the work. So hyperspace tracking data is in this opening here. It says after setup, you can assign 1 focus or evade token to each friendly ship at range 0 to 2, and you can also place your forces. Essentially, you put Dormants down at a 6 potentially to have some information there, along with your silencer. So if you have a lower initiative ships for your opponent, you could set up some type of alpha strike. Now, I like the idea, and what he's doing here with Recoil, setting up that Predator and Proton Rocket, is you're hoping that you could end up being placed outside of range 2 of Dormants, outside of the play area, and being able to come in fast and use that Proton Rocket and Predator ability and devastate somebody in the opening. I like the idea. The concept is cool. But I have some issues, though, with the long-term, the playability of this in a tournament. I think has problems. I think casually, this is probably a fun one-off list. You've heard me talk a lot about playing for the ability too much. Blackout is that problem incarnate. I don't like trick shot on him. I think people try too hard for Blackout's ability and put themselves in bad positioning. So I would lose trick shot and see where I can go there. As I continue to kind of pluck around here, if we're not trying to play too much into the Recoil ability, I want to see how many points I can get if I get rid of both of those. That gets me 12. Can I get to, how's math? I'm 7 away there. Sad face. Okay, so if I'm trying to keep, you know what, maybe Rush is just a better ship. Being able to get at initiative 1 for blocking. But that doesn't work with the Lieutenant Dormants thing. Man, you kind of locked me into Recoil. I don't like it, but I guess that's kind of where we're stuck. If the whole point is to use Lieutenant Dormants to have some type of alpha strike, maybe we get something. Man, what can we get here? I'm just kind of digging. I didn't get a chance to actually look for anything. Can we get a proton torpedo instead? Ooh, what if? Hold on, I'm just kind of, let's go back to the proton rocket, 5 points. Can we get a proton rocket here? Sure. I'd rather do that. I think I'd rather do that. Just give Blackout a proton rocket as well with the Lieutenant Dormants, and you can set up that alpha strike. And if you're setting up that initiative 5 after your opponent puts down, you should be able to line up your bullseye in that first turn if you're trying to alpha strike something. So I would end up with Lieutenant Dormants, hyperspace tracking data, Blackout, and proton rockets, and Recoil, regrettably, with Predator and proton rockets. But it does increase that opportunity to actually get that. What's wrong, Marcel?
Predator isn't. You're cool with that?
Well, Predator is just for. Right, it's just for the
eventual.
For the eventual, yeah. You can't Predator and proton rockets. Predator's only on the primary. All right, but yeah, that's where you go. I would love to get Kylo in there, but see, this is a Dormants list, so there's not enough space to get Kylo unless you really start cutting. Should I do it? I'm gonna do it. Okay. Will says no. Marcel says yes. Just cut. There we go. You get what can I go up to? I can go up to Avenger. up to Avenger right there. Avengers Initiative 3. Will doesn't like it, but I mean, if you want to get Kylo in there, that's what you'd have to do. But I'm going to stick with my other one as the option there. All right. We got some lists of the. Sorry, we went through our list of the week. Let's go through our questions of the week here. We're going to start with J-Man's question. J-Man asked, let the speculation fly. Do you think the launch of the new app and the significant changes to hyperspace were already in the works by FFG, or were these changes spearheaded by Atomic Mass Games once they got their hands on X-Wing? Speculation.
Those kind of stuff don't happen overnight. Now, I'm talking about the development of and the changes, especially knowing the mouse has got to approve everything. So all of that was already in place. To me, it seems like the FFG reassign, the whole thing of just moving stuff and consolidating, that's a cost-saving thing. You have to save overhead on the facility. You have to save overhead on the head count. So that's just cost of doing business in 2020. That's actually not a cost of doing business. That's I guess it is a cost, but I'm trying to think of a word that hits harder than just a cost. But yeah, that's a COVID tax.
I see that.
That's what it is. Yeah. So, but definitely the app was already in play. We already knew that. They had talked about it, and everything else that goes along with it. Those are things that you have to that take time. So I actually don't know. I'm curious to see, and I don't know if So I'm trying to think. My little hamster wheel is turning. Okay, guys. So I see you guys smiling. So I'm trying to think. Just the playtesters had an agreement with Asmodee, but they also had an agreement with FFG, and so did OP and stuff like that. Like the organized play, like Filippo and them, they had agreement with FFG. That agreement's no longer there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm wondering, how far ahead playtesting was that when we'll know when we're hitting AMG, Atomic Mass Gaming content versus FFG content that was just 6 months to a year or 2 years in development. Because I know I'm not a playtester, so I don't care if they slap me in the wrist. But I knew about the Force and the whole Force changes and all of that maybe about a year and a half before 2.0. So they were at least a year and a half in advance at the time that I was playtesting. So I'm wondering if when they say that, 2013, that means because FFG already has a roadmap until 2013 and Atomic Mass Games is just going to roll it out in their version of it, maybe make a couple tweaks based off playtesting, or are they just going to put a halt to everything and then start saying, nope, this is our baby, we're going to drive it from now on?
I think you said the main point I was taking away from the initial information was that they, and this is information we got back March or whatever, was that they have the license until 23, not 13. I don't know what decade you're in, but
not 23 either. 23, yeah.
23.
Yeah, 2023, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, a couple years from now. So, in my opinion, that this was moving it over to Atomic Mass Games isn't like, oh man, we really got to spice this game up. It's not doing very well. Really could use some heavy-handed treatment for it. Walking around, bro. They brought it over to Atomic Mass Games because it is already developed, and assuming then that because they know the license is let's not say that. The current contract ends in 23. So why wouldn't they, if you're a smart business, plan up until that point? And only after that contract is confirmed would you even thinking about 24 products then, 2024 products. So I very much is on the fact that because they have to develop the stuff 2 years in advance. I mean, it's about a year. I don't know, I guess it's been getting a little bit quicker, but it used to be about 8 months to a year between announcement and like release date, street date. They sped that up pretty significantly lately, but it's still so much time and effort even before that. Approving artwork, getting artwork, all these things have to fall in line. That even if Atomic Mass games started right now, they'd only get done with making new stuff, 22, early 23.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I'm very confident that they're just going to kind of not exactly ride the curtails, because it doesn't sound like they'd be actually working then, but continue down the roadway that FFG had set out.
The Alex Davey train.
Yeah, ride it out. one of the best miniatures games with one of the best IPs, or most maybe not best, but most marketable, right?
Yep.
As far as like toys and stuff being sold. So like, I just would find it very strange for them to be like, next year, like, oh, there's a 3rd edition. We'll try that for 2 years, and hopefully that drums up enough attention to get our entire Star Wars license renewed. Nah, it seems crazy.
All right. So, hopefully that suffices, J-Man, your question there. We speculated. And yeah, and I think from what we've heard, the app was in place already, and the hyperspace changes that's something that takes a lot of time. And I think we need to take, not today, we don't have the time to do it today, but we need to take some time and really dive into the massive change that is hyperspace, because it is very different. It is very different. So we'll take that up later. All right. So let's hit this last question here. So Dion, in your rankings of intercept boosters, you mentioned that they would get more value in an offline game rather than an online game, as in online games you get to play more rounds. Would you consider shortening the online game to decrease the amount of rounds to better line up with offline games, as longer/shorter games give the advantages/disadvantages to individual lists? This would keep the online meta closer to the offline meta, although the differences may not be that great. So as a tournament organizer, my answer would be no, because there's an expectation to 75 minutes. The idea is interesting, though. I will say that before the popularization of Tabletop Simulator in 2020, there was an opposite problem. I mean, this problem already kind of existed in Vassal. Because in Vassal, they had this rule in the Vassal League, and I'm trying to remember the exact number. It was.
Is it 12. The new one?
Well, there was 12, and then there was 60 plus 3.
Right, so there was 60 minutes plus 3 turns, plus 2. Yeah. But before, it was something like 14 turns. I think was the first type of limit. 12.
So Vassal League goes as far back as to like 19 turns, and they dropped it to 18 turns, then they dropped it again and again, and they went all the way down to 12, just because of how long some of these games were taking, way longer than any X-Wing games, to be honest. But then I think the best adjustment so far has been the 60 minutes plus 2 full untimed rounds. Has actually worked pretty well in my opinion.
Right. So here's the thing. I remember when they had 19 rounds, and I had done that research where at the time there was 11 rounds was the average in person. So this whole playing more rounds online has always been there. I don't think that'll change. Vassal is a little bit different because at the time, I'm not sure, I haven't played Vassal in a while. At the time there wasn't a clock in there, though. My opinion is that I think you just play 75 minutes. It's a pretty standard time and expectation to play. But it comes down to events. I think just the expectation. People want those 75 minutes if you're playing in a single day, and I think it's just the nature of the beast. The meta in online play ends up mirroring what in-person play is most of the time. Not all the time. And a lot of times you will see trends show up in online play first before they hit the table, because online play develops faster. That's why there was some people who, I found this train of thought really interesting going into Galaxies, and the fact that the Nantex got identified so quickly in the Galactic Championship Series before FFG nuked the points. Coincidentally, the online meta does move quickly because people are able to play more games. They're more public right now because of COVID-19. We're streaming a lot more games than we ever were in person because more people can do it. Right? It's just a reality. It's easier for anybody to stream and play X-Wing games right now on their computer. And that's whether they're doing it on Vassal or TTS. So to get to the point of the question, no, I would not consider changing it. This is something that's been around for a while, but I see where you're coming from. And I think it's when intercept boosters will probably get more play later on when we have more in-person play. I still think that's true. All right. Well, today's podcast, we covered a lot of different topics. I'm excited for next week. Next week we have, I started saying this at the end of last podcast, and I got distracted, and I didn't get to finish it. I realized it when I was editing it. We are going to be talking to, assuming that they're still available, next week. We're going to be talking to a pair of gentlemen who are doing some research about perception. I don't want to mess up their topic, but essentially they're doing PhD level research, and they want to use the X-Wing community in their survey. We'll talk about it a little bit more. We're going to have them present their ideas. They don't want to give away too much as they want us to take the survey, and I think it'll be interesting. I don't want to spoil the episode for next week, but hopefully we'll be speaking to them. And something very different. You guys know usually we don't have guests on the show because we have so much to do. And in a couple weeks, something that Marcel really wants to do, and it's been on the docket for a while, we just have had so much content, is we're going to go back and look at how we did. We're going to grade ourselves on our tiering of some of the releases. Some of them we got right. Some of them we got very wrong. And that's the fun of making way too early predictions. So we'll talk more about it later. You guys have any shout-outs before we head out?
Just Gabo and everybody else, everybody who participated this past weekend. I had a great time, and I think everybody else had a great time too. And also, just shout out to everyone who maybe didn't play but contributed, because you said $3,000 or thereabouts. Is going to go a long way to helping people. So that's just shout out to that whole event and organizers.
Will, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was small. Didn't want to do any traveling, so I was just hanging out with me and my old brother, who's just lives one town over. So played it safe. Ate way too much food. It was pretty much my weekend was wake up, eat too much food, nap, repeat for 4 days straight. Fantastic.
Ryan?
Not too far off. We went to a friend of my wife's house for Thanksgiving. It was just us four. And small Thanksgiving, still a lot of food, as Will said. So very interesting mixes and attempts at new things. Like, they made the traditional mashed potatoes and gravy, but they also like baked some apples, cut them up, and you put the apple like cuts on top of the mashed potatoes. It's actually a good addition. Try it out. And then I don't think it was anything else too crazy. That was probably the most unique thing, was actually putting little chunks of baked apples on top of the mashed potatoes and ate them all together. It's yummy.
Cool. Marcel?
Oh, this is past the shout out. This is just me and Kayla. It's just us two here at home. Just enjoyed some. We tried to go get a turkey, but then we realized the turkey is too much for just two people.
Right.
Like we went to Whole Foods, and like the only turkey that they had was like $130 and like 15 pounds, or like. Yeah, we're not gonna finish this, and it's just doesn't. So we ended up just buying like turkey meat, making turkey sandwiches, and then making some other, like cornbread and stuff like that, and just enjoyed. Watched. What did we watch? We watched Big Daddy with Adam Sandler, and just had a good time at home.
So for myself, this was my first ever Thanksgiving in my house, So here's the thing. I'm a pretty picky eater. I think we've talked about it. There's the memes with me not liking pickles, right? I don't like things that are mushy. So my amazing wife, you guys talk about her all the time, but she took it on herself to make all of the dinner. She's like, I got it. I know what I want to make. And honestly, this girl made like the best dinner she's ever cooked ever. It was like the best. It was amazing. It was fantastic. It was. She made some tostones, which is a traditional Hispanic thing about like plantain chips, but they're thicker. It's absolutely amazing. Double fried plantains, really good. Some awesome rice, and this like brown sugar ham with pineapples. Oh man, it was great. And we had some baked bread on the side as well. And I was a happy boy. It was so good. So shout out to Mrs. Gold Squadron. I told her, like, I took the first bites and I was like, this is the best thing you've ever cooked. Thank you so much. It was great. So thumbs up. I wanted to publicly give her props too, because it was awesome. So
I forgot to mention my yearly brag to other people about my wife's cookies. So she made a Thanksgiving style cookie. She made a pumpkin ginger snap cookie, very soft, and she also made what's called pumpkin fluff, which is almost like a pudding but fluffier style. So you would just dunk the cookie in it. It was pumpkin heaven, and I probably had too much of it.
that sounds delicious.
So yeah, more about my wife making amazing cookies that Marcel can be mad at me not giving to him.
Soon. All right, everybody. Well, hopefully you had a good and safe Thanksgiving as we continue into this holiday season. Continue to be smart, be safe. Gold Squadron out. Manscaped.com.